I have been enjoying a lot of things recently. Greetings, my name is Nina, welcome back to my channel. I don't really do this type of videos. I think I did a few videos like that a few years ago and then stopped for some reason. But I do love such content and I decided to make one of my own. So in this video I'm going to go through things that I have been enjoying recently, from perfume to technology to books, you name it. So let's go through them. I have them written down in this journal. Okay, the first on my list is clothing. So I really like this Marks and Spencer jumper, or whatever it's called. I got it in Istanbul and it was really nice. It was one of the very last items I bought in Istanbul, and I have a funny story regarding it. When you are abroad, you can buy something and then apply for tax-free customs. And so I did. I was entitled for tax refund at the airport. When I was about to be refunded, there wasn't anyone there. I did not receive a refund. And also, for some reason, at Istanbul airport, I had to prove that I had the item. That wasn't the case in Rome. I received the money in Rome really fast. Then I was like, I do not care anymore. I just want to go around the duty free, and I also want to drink Starbucks. But still, this is a very nice sweater. It's a really good quality and it feels nice to wear it. Another piece of clothing that I have been enjoying recently is this De Facto jumper. I wore this in my CD collection video, and this sweater made me feel like Rory Gilmore. And the funniest part is that I do not watch Gilmore Girls. I watched the first 2 episodes and I realized that the show wasn't for me. But I do understand why people love it, because it has this early 2000s vibe. It looks very comfy. I appreciate that. And I have seen some of Rory's outfits, and I do like some of her sweaters. And this one looks like one of her sweaters, jumpers, or however you call it. Yeah, it feels very nice. Next on my list is jewelry. So I really like these rings. So yeah, I've had this one since 2023. It's not actually a recent favorite, but still. And this one, if you can see it, and this one I got in September this year. 3 rings to the elves. And I really like this necklace here. Fact about me, I am obsessed with stars. I really like jewelry with stars, so I tend to buy jewelry with stars a lot. And I would love clothing with stars too. And the last piece of jewelry that I liked very much is this Ace of Hearts. I think this is how it's called. I wore this one in my CD collection video as well. Next favorite is a perfume favorite, so I have this Christina Aguilera perfume. This isn't actually my first Christina Aguilera perfume. The first one I had was Red Scene, and I really liked Red Scene, however I did not find it. I found this one instead and I decided to give it a try, and it smells pretty good. Now let's do some random stuff. Fun fact about me: when I travel, I go after sugar-free mints. I'm obsessed with them. I'm obsessed with sugar-free mints. I barely buy these in my country, but when I'm abroad, I go after them. And as soon as I stepped in Istanbul airport, I got myself these sugar-free mints. These are Ricola mints. These are from Switzerland, so this one is the original. This one is cranberry, and this one is lemon. I bought this one 3 times. I bought this one 2 times, and this I bought for the first time as a package deal. And I'm absolutely obsessed with these Mentos mints. They taste good, they smell good. One of the reasons I love sugar-free mints, other than they taste so good, is that they represent travel to me. Yeah, this is sort of a tradition for me. Every time I travel abroad, I go after mince. So I think I will tell in the future this story, how I got to this tradition, but for now let's move on. Another random thing that I enjoyed recently since I was in Istanbul, it was Turkish delight. I never actually enjoyed the Turkish delight, maybe because I came upon the wrong flavor in the past, but when I arrived in Istanbul, I came across so many of these. I tasted a lot and I liked a lot of these. I'd say that pistachio is probably the best. This Turkish delight made me remember Chronicles of Narnia. Spoiler alert, the White Witch enchanted Edmund, and she was like, oh, bring me your brother and sisters and you will have a lot of Turkish delight. Well, speaking of that scene, I absolutely disagree with the notion that Edmund is a traitor. Well, I do not remember how it was in the film, but in the book, the Turkish delight was cursed. Edmund was basically put under a spell. Yeah, I do find it weird that he's considered a traitor by the books, considering his age, his immaturity, and the fact that the Turkish delight was enchanted. He's barely a traitor. Not even close. Georgia does not have Starbucks, so every time I am abroad, I go to Starbucks. And my favorite drink at Starbucks is white hot chocolate. And I have a funny story regarding white hot chocolate. So, for those of you who do not know, when you order a drink at Starbucks, you also give your barista your name. And for fun purposes, I told my barista a Rockstar. However, he did not speak English properly, so he wrote Brookstar. But yeah, I absolutely love white hot chocolate. So I tasted white hot chocolate in Turkey, Italy, and Hungary, and I think that Turkey had the best one. Turkey had the best white hot chocolate. I think it also depended on the weather, because it was pretty hot when I was drinking it in Italy, but still. And the last random thing, it's probably the only one that isn't a candy or drink or a mint, it's this sleeping pillow. I should have bought this pillow sooner, because when I travel, I'm about to fall asleep and my neck hurts, so this thing helps. I really do not understand why I didn't buy this sooner. This is a must-have when you travel. At least it's a must-have for me. So when I was in Istanbul, I got myself this bag. So it's a very convenient bag because it has everything I need. The tissues, telephone, Kindle, wallet, etc. This pouch is the earphone pouch. I keep my earphones here. I do not really buy such things, but when I bought this one, I decided to add some extra stuff. So I got this, if you can see this, and also this Starbucks keychain that I like very much. There's something inside that is my next favorite. So here. So I got this small pouch in Istanbul, and inside I have some beauty favorites. I do not really do such things, but for some reason I was like, oh, these things are pretty nice, why not get them? So I have these Flormar, what it's called, Sheer Up lipstick. This is Go for Bordeaux 015. I prefer darker shades. I had this shade in the CD collection video, and I also really like this, what it's called, a black mulberry lip balm. This is how it looks, and this is how this looks. I'm currently wearing it, or whatever. How do you say this about a lip balm? I do not know, but it's a pretty shiny lip balm. The brand is called Flormar, and I got both of these at discounts. And the next favorite isn't a material thing, but an event. So one of the highlights of my trip to Istanbul was the 2-hour boat ride across the Bosphorus Strait. It was amazing. It felt like a real adventure, even though it was raining that day. Oh yeah, it was absolutely amazing. Well, yeah, absolutely love that boat ride. Probably the best thing that I experienced in Istanbul. If you go there, have that boat ride, it's totally worth it. Okay, let's go to books. I have two book favorites. The first is the Moomin Troll Saga by Tove Jansson. This is, I don't know, I think it's a first or second book. Excuse me, I have the numeration confused. So this is Comet in Moomin Land. I actually did not read this book. I read this one, so yeah, I read it in Russian, and this volume contains the first 5 books in the series. So Moomin Saga consists of 9 books, so this is volume 1, and I finished it the night before my flight to Istanbul. I was determined to finish it. I was like, I need to finish this before my flight. I started reading this the moment I received it. So if you happen to be the person who read a lot of the so-called realistic fantasy and got tired, and if you are looking for something comforting, I recommend picking up the Moomin Saga. Well, speaking of realistic fantasy, or how it's called, I have a script ready, and it's on my to-do list to make a video regarding realism in fantasy, and there's going to be a video soon. And the second book that I read, it's a reread actually. A Lord of the Rings by J.R. Tolkien, or to be exact, Return of the King. And I started reading this series in this edition in autumn 2024, but it took time. I read it slowly. It took a year to read, and I read the first 2 books physically, but the third one I read on Kindle. When I was in Istanbul, I carried my Kindle with me everywhere, and I read the book, and I finished a few minutes before my plane took off. I mean my return plane from Istanbul to Tbilisi. I finished Return of the King a few minutes before my flight. I was on the plane reading this. Now I read Lord of the Rings 4 times. Obviously I'm going to read this, but I would love to read it in Russian again, and then in English. Let's put these away. Okay, now let's do some stationery. So in Istanbul I found this pretty journal. This is a soft touch cover, and it opens like this. And this is the color of the pages. So originally I bought this for scrapbooking, the pretty scrapbooking, but now I realized that I want this to be more than just scrapbooking. I also write things here. Well, for example, I wrote this. Yes, I wrote create things multiple times. Yeah, I really like this journal. And to be honest, one of the reasons I really like the journals without lines is because such journals give me freedom to do whatever I want. Okay, it's not entirely a recent favorite because I have been journaling in this journal since June, but nonetheless, so this is my Moleskine. So Moleskine have been my 2025 favorite in general. So this is my second Moleskine, this is my first one. So I wrote in this one from 8th January to 21st of June. I do not have much left in this journal. I hope you can see this. This is how much I have left. I already have the next Moleskine. So yeah, I love these. I just love these. So I put this Apple sticker in the middle and decided that this journal needs no more stickers. Well, except this one, but only because it couldn't last here. And here, on the other hand, I have a lot of stickers. So here, you can look at them. I'm especially fond of the Pikachu sticker. So I do want my journals to be aesthetically pleasing, but then I realized that for some reason aesthetic stuff like photos, stickers, sketches, they do not fit this type of journals. Aesthetically pleasing stuff fits this journal, but not this one. In this one I have stuff going on like this. I hope you can see it. It's very strict, simply journal entries. And the last piece of stationery is this pencil case. Actually, no, the pencil case I've had for a long time. It's what inside that matters, and these are the Pentel pens. It's a Japanese brand, I think, but I do really like these pens. Yeah, I have a lot of them. I bought them separately. Okay, now to technology. I have two favorites in technology. The first one is this power blank. I put it in this little bag because this is soft touch. So yeah, this is how it looks. And also this has this thing, and you can put it like this. I did not rush to buy this when I got my iPhone 15 Plus. But I always knew that I eventually would have to buy this because sooner or later I would have to. And when I realized that 1, I have enough money, 2, I have a trip coming up, and 3, the most important, now I need the more time to charge the phone, I realized that it's the perfect time, right before my trip to Istanbul, to buy this, and I did. My absolute favorite piece of technology, probably the biggest and the most expensive thing here, is this boombox. I love this Philips boombox. It has a CD compartment, it has cassette compartment. Let me open. Yeah, cassettes. And over here you can put USB drive. Oh, this also has a double bass button. The only thing this thing cannot do is do Bluetooth for some reason, but I have a JBL for that, so that's alright. The next favorite is the albums. And so here are 2 albums that I liked. The Works by Queen and At the Edge of Time by Blind Guardian. And I was going through my favorites playlist in October, came across one of the songs from this album, and then I was like, I need to revisit the whole album. I did. One of their best albums. To be honest, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be said about the band and the albums, and their later albums are pretty solid. Yeah, I know that they're not exactly thrashy or whatever, but the later albums are still pretty solid. I do understand why fans like the old albums. I understand that, but I cannot help but love the later albums. And I think Beyond the Mirror is pretty underrated. Oh, and one more album I want to mention is The Best Damn Thing by Avril Lavigne. This album is so much fun. Avril Lavigne, she's pretty rebellious. I do really like that rock and roll side of her. Is she pop rock or pop punk or whatever? I do remember when she was popular back in 2007. I think she influenced a lot of emos. Did she? I don't know. I was never a part of any subculture. Yes, never an emo, never a punk, never a goth, or whatever. Okay, I mentioned albums and now I want to mention separate songs. Separate songs. So the first song that I want to mention, I absolutely love this song. It's Dawn of Victory by Rhapsody. So in the past I used to say that if you want to know what power metal is, you should listen to Dr. Steen by Halloween. I was wrong. This is the song that would tell you a lot about the genre. If you never heard of power metal but you want to hear it, I recommend listening to Dawn of Victory. It's such a fun song to listen to. Yeah, it's very fun. And I did listen to the whole album recently, and I would love to have it for Dawn of Victory, which I love very much, and also I really like Triumph for My Magic Steel. Yeah, Dawn of Victory is absolutely iconic. It's fun. The next song is pretty mainstream, but I do not care. Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. Yeah, I always liked that song, but I did not had it on repeat as much as I had recently. I like Come As You Are too, but that song has a line, "No, I don't have a gun," which is a lie. Yeah, I love the guitars in Smells Like Teen Spirit, and I do like the chorus a lot. Okay, the next song that I had on repeat a lot is Sacred Waltz by Vanguardian. This is the first song on the At the Edge of Time album. I overlooked this song and I paid a lot of attention to that song this October when I revisited the album, and I have had it on repeat ever since because it's very epic, it's very grandiose. And so is Wheel of Time from the same album. It's the last song on the album and it's also very epic. The next song is Пачка сигарет, A Pack of Cigarettes by Kino. So this is the first Kino song that I heard. And from the very first second you hear this beautiful guitar intro. And when you hear this song you get summer vibes. You feel like walking around in the nature in the summer. So yeah, it's perfect to listen to on a sunny day out in nature. But I listen to it everywhere, no matter the weather too. And finally the last song that I want to mention is Гимн Шута by Король и Шут. Гимн Шута, Jester's Anthem, Jester's Hymn, how it's called, translated. And Король и Шут is King and Jester. So yeah, this summer I listened to a lot of Russian rock, and the two bands that stood out for me were Kino and Король и Шут. Okay, I'm not a big Король и Шут fan, but they have songs that I like very much, like Ведьма и Осел, Witch and Donkey, and Кукла Колдуна, Magician's Doll. I absolutely love Гимн Шута, Jester's Anthem, and this song has a very memorable line. How to say it in English? Well, it sounds better in Russian, then yeah, I will translate it to you. I will open a secret to you. There are no honest lords, unfortunately. Yeah, these are the lines from the song, and I think I butchered the translation. Okay, the point is clear. And this song feels like an intro to a TV show for some reason. But yeah, I do like Kino. Kino is absolutely incredible. And there's a chance that Kino would be my top artist on Spotify Rap this year. Король и Шут will not be in the list, but I did listen to Гимн Шута a lot, and I think that it's going to be in my top 5 songs. Alright, that's all. These were all the favorites that came to my mind. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video of mine. Write me down your favorites. See you next time. Goodbye.